So now that we know that Pink Diamond staged her own shattering, having pearls seem to disguise as rose quartz, a lot of people have been wondering, well, then what's up with Yellow Diamond? Why was she acting this way in the trial? Well, today on Crystal Clear, we're going to look at a very interesting take on things. Let's do this. Welcome back to Crystal Clear on the Roundtable. I'm AwestruckVox, and does Yellow know more than she leads on? Now, first thing I want to make clear is that I honestly just believe Yellow Diamond in the trial was angry that she would be accused of murder. She was acting so weird, so anxious to get the trial over with because she doesn't want to feel anything about Pink's death. She wants to leave Pink Diamond in the past. Yet, there is an interesting scenario I have been thinking about that I want to throw out there. What if deep down Yellow Diamond knows Pink Diamond wasn't really shattered? Now, the first thing I want to point out is that no one would know Pink Diamond, or let's say recognize Pink Diamond, better than the other diamonds. The only exception really being Pearl, because she was Pink Diamond's Pearl. But as we saw from Jungle Moon, Pink seemed to spend quite a bit of time with the other diamonds, especially Yellow. Now, we have yet to get an actual scene of just Blue and Pink hanging out like we got with Pink and Yellow, which actually may add more to this. But yes, as her superiors, and very likely that Pink Diamond was the last diamond to be made, I think it stands to reason the diamonds would know what her gemstone fully looks like when poofed. And it was already at a very weird angle compared to most gems. But to be more specific, not only would the diamonds know what Pink's gemstone looks like, but they would definitely recognize the color of her gemstone. Again, just stick with me here. I mentioned these things, especially the color, because of a line of dialogue we got earlier in the series that, looking back on it, was indeed foreshadowing. Good old Eyeball. People don't really take her seriously, but they should. Out of all the rubies, because of her knowledge, her position, I find her to be one of the most intriguing antagonists in the series. Definitely one of the most important. And you may scoff at the idea of this, but I would honestly put Eyeball pretty close to Jasper in terms of importance in the series, at least in relation to Pink Diamond and her court. If we call back to the episode Bubbled, when Steven's trying to convince Eyeball of his status as Rose Quartz, one of his methods of convincing her is showing his gemstone, to which Eyeball retorts,
"That's more of a pinkish red than a real rose quartz reddish pink."
And while, yeah, the joke is like, okay, she's kind of talking about the same thing, it goes to show that Rose Quartz and Pink Diamond do have different shades of pink, and I think it's likely that Rose Quartzes are darker. And Steven also tries to justify this with his bubble, but we've seen Steven's gem. It's pretty pink, bubble or not. Honestly, there's little to no red in this gem. So let's roll with this idea that there truly is a noticeable difference, no matter how small, between the shades of Pink Diamond and Rose Quartz. In the trial, when Steven testifies to Yellow and Blue, still masquerading as his mother, he shows off his gemstone, pleading himself guilty. And while Blue Diamond's reaction, squinting, lowering her eyes, seemed to tie into asking Steven how Rose Quartz could have shattered Pink Diamond, Yellow Diamond's reaction was radically different. She actually appeared to be shocked, as if Steven's gemstone seemed to be a bit too familiar to her. Regardless, with how things played out, and Yellow Diamond being off the hook for murder, this reaction still remains very questionable. To reiterate, in theory, Yellow Diamond would know what Pink Diamond's gemstone looks like, even when turned and obscured. So even if it was for just one single moment, a connection very well could have been made. As the trial progressed, before Zircon even made the accusation that Blue or Yellow shattered Pink Diamond, Yellow's temper began to severely spike the more pieces Zircon put together. This is still suspicious, and I believe it could be because Yellow Diamond started putting the same pieces together as well, but coming to two different conclusions. Yellow Diamond has been said to be in control of Homeworld's armies. I think she would be knowledgeable in battle, that she would possess some pretty good war tactics. Stay with me here. I think she knows just as much as Zircon that it did not make sense for Rose Quartz to just get past Pink's entourage. Hell, Yellow's initial justification of she must slip past them, and that her agates, her sapphires, her pearl were of course with them, and obviously they stress the importance of Pearl. It just seems as if Yellow was forming ideas that she quickly tried to repress, that no, that can't be it, that can't be it, she's gone, she's dead, that's all there is. But there's a giant hole in this. The fact Yellow was so confident that Pearl was with Pink Diamond when she was shattered means that as far as Yellow's concerned, Pearl should have still been around. But that wasn't the case. Pink Diamond accounted for her own fake shards, but not Pearl's. So without shards, Homeworld had no conclusive way to tell what happened to Pearl. And you guys know the old saying, until you see a body, do not assume they're dead. I think this is something that resonated within Yellow Diamond's mind, that, oh, well, we actually never did find the gem of Pink Diamond's pearl. Pearl. Wait a minute, her Pearl must have done something. Her Pearl might have been involved with the Shattering. But again, since this is completely hypothetical, as all theories are, Yellow Diamond could have even made the dots that, what if Pink Diamond just faked her demise? Again, it very well could have been just a misdirect, but I do think it's very exciting and interesting that Yellow Diamond does know that, oh god, Pink could have been right in front of me and I wouldn't even have noticed, or that maybe she did stage her Shattering. We'll definitely get more of the story the more it unravels. But for now, what do you guys think of this idea? Could Yellow Diamond be in the know, but it's just suppressing the idea of it so she can avoid getting upset? Drop your thoughts in the comments below or tweet them directly to me at AwestruckVox. We're at the Roundtable on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Roundtable Vids. If you want to help us grow, subscribe to the Roundtable on Patreon. Get access to exclusive perks and have your name featured at the end of the video like all these beautiful, wonderful people. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications, stay in the loop with all things Steven. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. AwestruckVox out.